stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will hereby call this meeting to order. It is council meeting 2020-05. All right, and the first order of business is public announcements. And details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. The first order would be Kennebec Regional Development Authority will hold its annual budget meeting for First Park on March 25th at 5 p.m. at the T-Mobile facility at 133 First Park Drive in Oakland. Members of the public are encouraged to attend for the purpose of voting on the annual budget. Number 2 is Mid-Maine Chambers 2020 Business to Business Showcase, which is March 26th, 12 to 6 p.m. at Colby College. And the third order would be, per charter, the town of Fairfield will hold the annual town budget public hearing. As it sits at this point, it says Wednesday, April 8th at 6:30 p.m. at the Fairfield Community Center. However, there being a couple of conflicts at that point.
You actually have it so that you could discuss this under, I would usually do it under other business for the
Yes.
workshop. I was
Yeah, I
thinking the
agree.
budget was still on here, but it's not.
Right. Yes.
The mailer warrant, we're gonna have the mailer warrant.
Oh, that's right. We have to discuss it during the mailer warrant. That's why that wasn't on.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, that will be discussed at a later time in the hearing. Second order of business is public hearings, and we have none. Third order of business is public comments, which are limited to 3 minutes. Members of the public may speak to the council on any item or reserve the right to speak on a specific item that is on the meeting agenda when the item is addressed. There being none, we will move on with that. Fourth order of business, reports from staff and committees. Town manager report.
So on March 5th, I attended the KRDA General Assembly meeting. This was the first reading and approval of the operating budget for 2021. The final meeting will actually be March 25th at 5 p.m. prior to your next council meeting. So I'll be running from one to the other. Quorums are important.
Yes, they are.
March
Tell me about it.
10th, I attended the KVCOG Board of Directors meeting. They're working on revamping their strategic plan. The organization is now fully staffed, which is wonderful. The interior of their building is getting a facelift with so much needed paint and that sort of stuff. Also, this morning, I attended the Central Maine Growth Council's Board of Directors meeting. They're currently working on a lot of grant applications. It's grant application season for member communities. There's also been some good announcements regarding the foreign trade zone with some good PR that should hopefully be coming out on that soon. That trade zone, while it took a while, is actually doing quite well. And then there's quite a few workforce development and business development leads in the pipeline. A lot of folks looking to come to this region, so that's really good. Not in your packets, but in your mailboxes, so you should have received a memo from me regarding the trailer purchase for the cemetery crew. This is one of the first times that we've had to provide you with a memo regarding capital reserve purchases within the new guidelines of our new purchasing piece. So because the funds came from perpetual care, this requires a reporting to you. Now, this being the first time we've done this, please let me know if you got too much information, not enough information, didn't like the format, what have you. But really, everyth's there where we received all of our estimates. We basically went with a low bidder. All 3 trailers were exactly the same. And it's a big Tex trailer out of Winslow for $1,567.50. And the current balance of the perpetual care account is $155,289.27, so definitely well within
Yeah, I
that budget.
apologize, I haven't seen it because I didn't get in.
And that's fine. So you've got the memo and then the piece from the Public Works Director and the estimates. So.
Okay.
Also, wanted to give you a quick update. Last month, we did receive our franchise monies for last year. It was $88,268,
Very nice.
which is really good. So
Yes.
our station is good for another
Another
year.
year.
And then also just today, we received some exciting news where the U.S. District Court for the state of Maine has denied the cable company's request for declarative and injunctive relief against the new law that was requiring them to move our channel back to 7 or 11, as well as actually do build-outs when it's 15 houses per mile. So they were denied that injunction, so that's a really good piece. It's not that they won't appeal, but it's one step
Right.
closer to making sure that they move our channel back to where it was supposed to be, so that was a
Excellent.
good piece. The tree cutting on Route 201 has given us $7,662.23 in revenue, so that's good. We think that that's probably the very end of that. So that site is the 201 property that's behind Robert Dale's property in the Antiques Mall.
okay,
That's
yeah.
been cleared other than
Yeah.
its buffer zones. And then also, last week, we received the new 2020 assessment from the Kennebec Sanitary Treatment District. Fairfield will be seeing an annual increase for this next year, which starts in April, of $68,650.30. That's roughly creates a $55,000 shortfall in our current revenue rates. So we are working on rate change suggestions that are being
Yeah.
calculated. The Public Works Director has spoken with the new wastewater treatment director, trying to get a handle on what actually happened. Hudamaki is going to be seeing, I think it's a $160,000 increase this year. Part of what we were told was a lot of the break on Main Street, on Water Street in Waterville was not allowed to be charged to capital reserves and needed to come out of operations. And that also it linked back to some flows that came out of Fairfield. We're not real sure. We've been working on trying to get them to tell us how those flows are calculated. What I would potentially like to recommend is that maybe the council wants to invite our trustees to the sewer district to a future meeting, because we had zero heads up on this whatsoever. I had no idea.
Yeah, that would be a decent, I mean,
Yeah.
they've had, obviously, we've seen over the last few years, we've seen some main breaks and things like that, but that's simply because they didn't keep their maintenance up.
So this is
It's not our fault.
a big piece. So we'll be working on that. I think we figured out roughly it's going to be something like, I think it has to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $12 to $13 per quarter per user,
Yeah.
which is what it will have to go up. But we're working on that. We haven't quite gotten there yet. So we were hoping that we were not going to have to do a rate increase this year based upon our current budget projections, but this is a deal breaker. So we're getting that. But in good news, on our streetlight project, as of yesterday, end of day yesterday, Wiswell Electric had installed 145 LED streetlights out of our 331.
Oh, beautiful.
Areas that have been installed are Hinckley, Shawmut, and between Western Ave and Maplewood Cemetery. So that area of in town over here has been done. Bunker Avenue over here on the island has been done. And now that they're down here in town, so they're moving right along. We're roughly 43% installed, so
Okay.
things
so
are doing good. And
things
some
will
of
get
them
brighter.
out in the center have been done. They went to the outer reaches of the community first
Yeah.
to work their way into town where it's more densely populated, because it requires some different levels of flagging and that kind of stuff. And then one final thing, in wake of the coronavirus and flu and all of that stuff, and folks are looking for alternative ways to do things, most all of the services that the town of Fairfield offers can, well, not all of them, but a good number of them can be done online. If folks have questions and they don't want to come to the house, if they feel that they are susceptible to various different contagions, to call us or go on our website, and we can try to help folks get things done without necessarily coming to the office. As well as the library, you can request books online. So there's a lot of things that folks can do without actually having to come into our buildings. So we're working on some other things, but I just wanted to give that quick post tonight to remind people that we do offer a lot of our services online, so folks don't have to come out for that.
Okay,
And that's it for me.
that's it. Now we'll move on then to the, any questions? from anybody?
No, good right now.
Okay. Town clerk election report. Would you like to give it?
I would. So the current number of registered voters as of Election Day, March 3rd, was 4,332. We had 1,309 voters cast ballots for a turnout of 30%. The total absentees requested were 138, 132 came back and were cast. We did 75 new voter registrations processed on Election Day, and we had 64 party affiliation changes to current voters on Election Day. That would be unenrolled folks going into a party. And we also
Okay.
had changes address name, 13 of those. It was very busy at the registrar's table. We had 9 spoiled ballots. That's a little high for an election of that kind, but that continues to rise. Then the polls were busy throughout today. The personnel, they fielded many inquiries regarding the enrollment restrictions and ballot eligibility that comes with any primary election that's party affiliated. And in addition to the election personnel, elections are a town team effort, and each department participates in coordination. I just always like to say well done by all. The collaboration is greatly appreciated, and we pride ourselves on maintaining the integrity and compliance of our elections, and it continues to be an honor to administrate elections and lead our team in facilitating another successful election.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, is that 30%? And that, what does that, as against what is normally on that particular type of an election?
Well, there is no normal for this because it's been 20 years since the state of Maine has had a presidential primary. So this is a new thing.
New
It's,
thing altogether,
you know,
yeah.
compared to another primary, say as in the one that's coming in June. You know, it could be somewhat on par. It's going to vary always depending on what referendum or bond issues there are that the state puts forward.
Yeah.
Some topics just bring out more voters than others, and there was a referendum with this election.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Any question from anybody? No, everybody's good. Okay. Any committee reports? Okay.
The Economic and Community Development Committee did meet since your last meeting, and there was some discussion of mostly what we discussed will be later on in the agenda when you're talking about the
Right.
Fairfield event. But one of the things that we did do is we had an playground architect come in and spoke to us regarding playscapes and using things that are natural as opposed to large and plastic, and incorporating that. I'm sorry, her name escapes me, but she's worked on the waterfront project in Riverwalk project in Waterville, has assisted KV CAP with their playgrounds at EdgeCare as well as at KVCC, and various other projects. So we had her come and speak to us. Playgrounds has been a project that Economic and Community Development has kicked around for a large number of years. And this really was a catalyst to get us really started in thinking about how we might want to go in a direction, knowing how expensive playgrounds can be, and trying to really be clear and focused on what our mission is. So that was a really good meeting.
Good, good. Well, that's important with the playgrounds, I think, too, to make sure that, you know, you spend all this money on playgrounds and then it sits there for 12 months and nobody ever shows up to it. So it's,
So
you know,
this
another
was
thing to
an attempt
take a
to
look at.
incorporate our existing trail system that we have. A lot of our conversation was around Mill Island Park, where we have an
Right.
existing trail system. We have some play equipment, But could we install equipment that's good not just for, children 5 to 9, but are we really looking
Right.
at all age groups and incorporating some various
Yep.
different components? So it was quite interesting.
Excellent, all right. Okay, let's move on to the fifth order of business, which is the consent agenda. Now, these are items that are considered routine or standard business and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered sequentially on the agenda. All right, the two items are 20-30, which would be the order that the Fairfield Town Council hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes of the meeting 2020-04 held on February 26th, 2020. And item 20-31, order the Town Council approves the treasurer's warrant.
So second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carries fully. Sixth order of business. To take action on the following items of business. The first item, 20-32, order that the town council hereby reviews and approves the annual town budget and warrant mailer.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, that's the one that we are
Right.
looking at, that
Changing the time.
we want to change the date because of some conflicts from the 8th and to the 9th.
And I actually have some questions for you regarding its layout, so
Okay.
Okay,
start with those. One, just to verify, this document is written, as we have in the past, that regardless of whether or not it was a town council recommendation or a budget committee recommendation, the highest number is what went into the article.
okay.
We just need your confirmation that that is how you want to do this. And then my second question is on Article 11. We combined the two paving pieces, so our normal paving article, as well as the new paving program for the in-town streets with the undesignated fund balance funding that program. That is combined into one article. I just wanted to confirm that you wanted it that way, or whether you wanted two separate articles. And I think that was the one, and then there's just a minor wording tweak that I have to do on the summary. That's all. It was just a missed thing that I saw in the summary where it says, in the very first piece of the summary, it says contains every individual line, and we're going to put contains individual lines.
Okay.
Just because of the fact that some of those, I think, have been combined to get it into the town report. Some of them are like lumped, but
All right. What is the
those were my
council's
questions.
wish on the two items that,
Because I
Manager.
know on line 11, we're going to have some money come TIF and raise the rest.
No, undesignated fund balance and raise the rest.
Okay.
So what this does is that $530,000 for roads, streets, and sidewalks, that includes the $280,000 that we would normally do in any given year. So it's the $270,000 from last year with the $10,000 additional.
yeah.
That comes from taxation. And then it also includes the $250,000 that we'll be using from undesignated fund balance to do those in-town streets, which is a new piece to this paving program. It's fine to keep them combined, I just want, and we've defined that in here, that it is two
Yeah.
different separate
Yeah.
types of projects. I just wanted to make
just don't
sure
wanna
that that
confuse
was
them.
how you wanted
I just
it.
don't want to confuse
That's
the
all.
residents, but I know it's explained in there, what's
Right.
coming out.
In the explanation down below, the only thing I might suggest is where you've got the 280,000 would come from estimated revenues and 250,000 for in-town streets would come from undesignated fund balance. Maybe italics or something to separate that out, that'll draw their attention to it so they'll know that it's not
not all
530, not
taxation.
530 coming out of taxation, so that they'll
Yeah.
go, oh, there's something below, and,
Yeah.
oh, that's the part
We
that
can do
really
that.
separates.
Either like, we can either like, just even doing a return and starting a whole new line with a little bit of space might help too.
Something that'll
to just define it a little
draw
bit
their
more.
attention to it, so they
Yep.
go, oh, okay.
Yep,
More confusing.
we can do that.
Yeah, they'll
That's
at
easily
least know
done.
that it's, from the undesignated fund balance, and it's not all from taxation, and they're gonna go, no.
Well, and technically, the reason why it says estimated revenues is because when we on our side of the calculations look at revenues and we divvy up where revenues go and which department they actually help fund and offset, our paving program is actually offset by a portion of excise tax. We do the portion that we need for paving for excise tax, and then the remainder is used to offset public works budget, period. So that's why that says that, and then, of course, the undesignated fund balance for the new program, so.
Okay. All right, so we recommend those changes.
Okay, that's easily enough fixed. And then, of course, so this would be where you would decide whether or not you want your public hearing on April 8th, which is your normal scheduled meeting, or do you want to move the council meeting to April 9th and also move the public hearing to April 9th?
I'd make a motion to move everything to April 9th.
Second that.
Okay, any more discussion? And that's primarily because of a quorum conflict there, and we don't want to do that. All right, all in favor? Okay. All right, so we will take, and then we've got to, and we have a motion then to
Or is that what you just
approve
did?
the,
Just approved it.
approve the annual town budget and warrant mailer.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All right. Got that, Christine? Okay. So it'll be on a Thursday night instead of a Wednesday night. It's the only difference. All right, now we come to item 20-33, ordered that the town council hereby authorizes the town manager to sign the Dirigo Engineering Services proposal for the feasibility study of the Town Farm Road development at a cost of up to $15,000 to be extended from the Route 201 TIF district account.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Yes.
I just wanted to make sure you pointed it out. So this is a project that we have been discussing, looking at the possibility of doing a housing subdivision on the town farm. When we originally discussed this, there was concern about the fee, and we made sure that there was some wording added that the fee will not exceed the 15,000 as requested without prior written authorization, because this is a time charge basis based upon the fees that are listed on page 2 of the general provisions. I did also have another conversation with them, and they do not anticipate us even reaching the 15.
Right.
However, until they can physically
Just
get
in
to the
case,
site.
yeah.
But this is a 4-month project that really has to hit the April and May vernal pool window.
Yeah.
So they're anxious, and with the snow receding, it's great because I think they're going to actually be able to get out there much sooner than originally
That would be
anticipated.
fantastic.
Which is going to be really
And
good.
it's something that's desperately needed, as we all are aware of.
It is. At the Growth Council meeting today, that was the piece that kept being reiterated over and over and over again, is the sheer lack of housing, and that as new businesses come to town and we try to recruit new talent for these businesses, we need to really find a
Gotta have
place for them to
someplace
be able
that
to
they can
live.
live.
So this is a good piece. So this will get us started.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
You need to vote.
All in favor?
All in favor? Okay. Item 2034. Town Council hereby signs quitclaim deed for the following property, 423 Ridge Road, map 004, lot 054.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Item 2035. Order that the Town Council hereby declares the Fairfield Economic and Development Committee's proposed Fairfield Heydays.
You skipped
You
one.
didn't skip one.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2034. I'm all right. No, I didn't.
No, you got 35.
34 was the quick claim deed.
Right,
And now we got item 2035.
right, which is something different.
Yeah,
It's the economic community development is 36.
right, but if you read item 2035,
That's right.
Oh.
Please read item 2035. You're right, 2035.
but if I got the wrong, well, apparently, I'm sorry.
Update.
You changed it on me, you didn't tell me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
We're here to help you, John.
This came
That's
in,
all right. Now you take
This came
one,
in the
make a
mail.
paper plane on it.
and
All
when
right.
the DA says they'll give you money, you put it on.
Sorry about that. That was the one that I originally got. All right, item 2035. Ordered that the town council hereby approves the transfer of the defendant in rem, namely the $500 or such amount ordered by the court pursuant to 15 MRSA 5824C and 58266, and a unified criminal court docket number SOMCD-CR-19-376, police department forfeiture.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. What are we doing?
So it's money that, the chief can answer your
Chief, Come on
question.
up.
Thank you. Good evening. So this is basically a $500 seizure that was taken during a drug investigation, and it's now sitting in our evidence locker. And for us to remove it from the evidence locker, we need direction from the court as to what to do with it.
Okay.
This gives the court has decided to give the $500 in cash to the town of Fairfield.
Okay.
Normally, we would take that money and put it into our drug account.
Right.
But that's totally your decision to make. So that's basically what that's all about. It's an older
Okay.
drug case,
All right.
and
So
it's just transferring
It's
the
just
money
us
to us. So that we-
accepting the money.
correct.
Okay.
So we can take it out of our evidence room and
Yep.
put it into the town
It's a
accounts.
formality, and the
Oh.
reason why the motion is so long is it's as required by the
By the law,
courts.
by the courts.
So,
That makes
yes,
sense.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All in
We-
favor? All right. It is done.
There we go.
Okay. Ordered that the town council hereby declares the Fairfield Economic Development Committee's proposed Fairfield Hay Days to be town-hosted event scheduled for 8-7 and 8-2020.
So moved.
So it'd be August 7th and
7th and
8th. Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
So you have Kim Hawks and Tim Martin, who are co-chairs of the ad hoc committee that's on this event,
Okay.
to give this proposal to you and what it is that they would be looking for. The biggest piece of all of this is they've been doing some great work with sponsorships and with getting ready to send the letters out to folks about sponsorship levels and what that all means for this event. We realized that we can't have them make checks out to the town of Fairfield without the council's permission for us to
Okay.
do that. So the implications that come with this, when it is a town event though, is that the town will be taking responsibility for the event. So there are pieces that come along with that. There is the insurance. We do not have updated numbers on the insurance for you. We needed to have a really good scope of what that was going to be for that additional event insurance. There will be expenses that go with this project. However, they have been actively pursuing sponsors, and they can answer that better for you. They've done a lot of reach out work with PAL and those sorts of things. It is a weekend event, so one of the issues with making it a town event is that you will not have town staff at the event unless it probably is going to include overtime.
Overtime, yeah.
And then with the money coming in, the money will also be going out, so the additional work with town staff for the acceptance and billing and that
Yep.
sort of piece in the accounting. But that's, before they could go a step further, this was really a step that needed to be done.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I think it's necessary. We've had, you know,
Yeah,
we
we-
need to keep things going in the summertime. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. And we've had different projects, and some have been really good for a short period of time, others haven't. A lot of it has been problem, I think, that we have in our modern day history is lack of volunteers. People that want to get out and do stuff and that type of thing. So I think it's up to us to continue stuff like that.
And that has been our biggest concern. The committee has mentioned that. We've mentioned that to Kim and Tim as well, is making sure that there are enough volunteers to actually run this event.
Right.
Based upon the activities that are planned, which are going to be great family-oriented activities.
Yep.
But it is going to require volunteers, as Stephanie had said at the last meeting, about recruiting volunteers and looking for people who
Right.
want to help. So. But they can provide you with some additional information or answer any other questions that you have.
Okay, any questions from the
Yeah, that's-
I don't know if they want to explain what they have so far.
Okay.
I'll give this a new copy for each of you. It goes over our timeline and what we're looking to do. Now, this is all proposed, obviously, because we have not talked to everybody about what will be happening and what commitments.
Yeah.
But for the majority of the things in that sponsorship letter, we expect will happen. So we did put a timeline together. Tim did, thank you, Tim, of how we would secure things. So by April 10th, we hope to have all our sponsorship requests done so that we know what commitments we have for the activities and that we have some finances for it. I do know that the town has a special events budget. And we are hoping, and I didn't really speak to Michelle prior to this meeting, but, if this is not the proper time and I have to come back another time, let me know that, because I don't know the proper procedure for that. But we would hope to have 3,000 out of that account set aside for this event, because we are using town facilities, community building, which we booked. But of course, we're gonna have coordination with Public Works and the police department that will need to be taken care of in some initial costs before
Right.
we have commitments coming in.
Right.
So I don't think that's a huge amount of money out of the budget, I hope, to start us working on it. And we do have some commitments. We do have a major sponsor, a verbal commitment right now of 2,000. So,
Very good.
and we
Excellent.
stopped ask until we got the blessing. And we need to know if there's gonna be a separate account, how the money's gonna come in, who's responsible, and who the checks need to be payable for. So, but I expect that we will be able to cover the majority of our costs through this without any issue. And then, once we have everything firmed up for our sponsors, there is a sponsorship letter in there, and it shows the levels, so you can refer to that if you'd like. And that's what we would be going over. We would then get our advertising and media spots, once we have it all from commitments. By July 24th, we would make sure that we would get certificate of insurance and payments would be in, and Jeff and Tim will work on that to make sure that that happens. By July 31st, we would make sure that we secure all of the volunteers, and we believe that we will be able to get a lot of the PAL kids and possibly some of the business employees might want to help out, because that's the whole point of doing this, is to promote Fairfield and its businesses. So hopefully we'll get some there as well. But on August 7th, we'll have a street dance, and all that will be focused right down here on Water Street, and we'll be coordinating that
That'd be excellent.
with the police and Public Works. And then we're looking to have possibly bingo in this building, wellness event going on in the Chamber of Council's room. So there will be a number of different activities, possibly paint night, and we'll have a better idea of what those events will be once we get the commitments and your blessing. And then on the 8th, we would be at the PAL complex, and we've already met with PAL. They're fully in to allow us to use the facilities for whatever we need. But there will be possibly 20 different events. And there's an outline that details all of the events we're considering having.
Excellent.
And we'll get separate sponsors for each of those events. And we're hoping to do hay rides. And we'd be looking at, obviously, that business that would do it for their insurance to cover it and things like that. So there's a number of things in the works, but I think that we have a lot of the kinks worked out, and we just need the council's commitment that it can be a town event. This is not a private event.
Right.
And that's about it.
Is I just happened to notice it said senior breakfast there.
Yeah.
Is that taking the place of what we normally?
What we used to do, we
here?
don't do that any longer. Yeah.
Okay,
When did we used to do a senior breakfast?
right here.
We did the senior days thing, that was a barbecue.
Right.
I didn't know we did a breakfast.
Well, on the breakfast, it was a
Yeah.
luncheon or whatever, but
Yeah.
it was still a senior type of a thing
Yeah.
and did all of that stuff.
And the Grange had said that
Yeah,
they would host it.
They just had a meeting Monday night in the Grange, Leicester.
Great.
So,
Okay.
Cool.
Any questions?
I have none.
Not yet.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Then the money request, to answer your question, comes later. So,
All right, we have a motion and
In a second.
a second. All in favor? It carries.
Thank you.
now your letters.
Thank you.
Now your letters.
It's no, it's a project that's much needed because we've done over the years lots of these different projects, and, you know, we need something to keep it moving, keep it moving forward. And, you know, they have the Taste of Waterville that was started back in 93, 94 actually. That has, you know, continued to move up, and we need to do something here in the same order.
It's the same,
Huh?
it's the exact same,
That's fine too, because what that is the people are out and they're moving. So they'll go from A to B and that type of thing. I mean, it's not a competition level, it's what it is. Okay. That is that. All right. Seventh order of business, council workshop and other business. Number one, discuss public safety ordinance, Article 1 parking, Section 10, and Article 4, no through trucks, Section 1.
At your last meeting, you pretty much had completed everything to do with the parking piece with the
Right.
adjustments on Main Street. Well, the Public Works Director, the Police Chief, and I actually had a meeting on Main Street, so we were physically there looking at it. And a couple of things have been discovered. So, an area that we were looking at doing the 30-minute parking in front of Beatty's, there's actually a loading zone that's also there incorporated in that space.
Yes, there is.
That's extra wide and a driveway and those sort of pieces. And we actually would like to make a suggestion that we kind of go a little bit different, in which you'll see it's been highlighted in here where, because the other piece we were looking for was an easy way to define the space and for signage.
Right.
Okay, so it would be the easterly side of Main Street, directly in front of 146, 148 Main Street. The first 3 parking spaces shall be limited to 30 consecutive minutes. And then what we said, that actually what we would like to do is move it to the other side of the street. And I had sent you, in this last round, you received an aerial. So basically, it would be the 3 parallel parking lots before you actually get to the Geralds, when you're coming from Lawrence Ave and the bridge.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 spaces after that before Summit. So it's 5 spaces on that side of the street, and make all 3 of them. Because when the department heads and I went down and looked, we thought, well, what if we just went from Beatty's to the corner? Well, it's a large number of streets to Water Street. That would have been 30 minutes. And what we thought was maybe this 30-minute parking on the opposite side would actually give us a really good starting point to get that feedback and see. people don't actually use those spots during the day, even for very long periods of time. So then what we wouldn't have to do, we'd keep the sign relatively simple, and it would just be all day, 30 minutes. It could be useful for the post office. I know that Frank Bouchard's accounting firm, they have people that are in and out, and sometimes, believe it or not, especially this time of year, that little parking lot on the corner that they've been using is full. That's technically not public parking, but Irving doesn't mind evidently, so folks do park there. But it would be just those 5 slots, and change it to that instead of those pieces right in front of Beatty's. Because our concern was, if someone was into Beatty's and you have an issue, and you know, I've sometimes spent more than 30 minutes picking out a new wash machine, so that was the other piece. And it seemed like doing it right in front of his very business seemed a little bit singling out. I did have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Beatty that day. He was there while we were taking a look at the place, and he thought, you know, the opposite side of the street was good. He said he could work with whatever. He's been through multiple changes on Main Street.
I'm sure he has.
But
Yes.
we wanted to make sure he
He's been
knew
there a
that
while.
we were aware of what was going on in his business. So
Okay.
just moving that to the opposite side of the street might just make things a little bit easier.
Okay.
And then we went through and looked at, I'm sorry, the no-through trucks as requested.
Yes.
Back to my page. So adding from Cottage Street, which would have gone from Main Street
To Savage.
Savage,
Yes.
and Military Avenue with the same.
With exactly the same.
Exactly
Main
the
Street,
same.
Savage, yeah. Yep.
This is not correct. This version of what I have is not the right one. So, and so that's what we did with that after you had brought that up, and we've combined them both. It is the same piece.
Yep.
Brought them both back to you, and that way we would do a combined public hearing for both of the changes.
Sounds good.
And that kind of,
Yep.
which will save us.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not real concerned with Military because of the type of street it is, because it's much narrower than Cottage Street, but still, you know darn well that if you kill one, somebody's
just
gonna
move
come
to
up there and say, oh, and cut down the other one.
Makes
Especially
sense.
it's hard to come down Military.
Yes.
On that corner. Yeah.
Yep, makes sense. All right, we'll get that.
Okay. All right. Second order of business. Discuss council's annual town report letter.
So
We've got-
this,
We got 26 to choose from. Which letter do we want?
I kind of summed up some of it.
Oh, okay.
Was this supposed to be from 2019 or the beginning of 2020?
It's 2019.
Okay, that's why. You're behind.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the town report is for the prior year.
I'm gonna recuse myself from this one.
Well, it's kind of one of those things too. I even went back and looked. I was like, well, you're
saw that.
actually
I said-
listed in it, but it's the events that happened during that time frame that we're covering.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So these are things to
That's what
report
I
on.
thought. I saw that. It's over a year ago. I said,
Yeah. So I basically went through and picked some of the larger, more highlighting projects that you've done. It's not a large letter. I mean, you do accomplish a lot
Right.
because, like you said, there
Yeah, I
are
think it's
26
good.
reports of things that we have done throughout the course of the years. But basically, some of the bigger things that I pinpointed that I thought were pieces that folks in town should know in case they missed a meeting or what have you, that were important. And one was the protecting of Main Street that we did when we changed the land use ordinance. So to keep folks from our commercial spaces being turned into residential, unless folks can prove, you know, that it can't feasibly work as a commercial space. But we've had a lot of our Main Street already turn into residential that used to be commercial space. A lot of people do not realize that in the Main Street tract, there is only one space open for commercial use. And currently, the people that own it do not want to use it for anything. So technically, our Main Street area, the blocks from the bridge up through to the Big Apple, that little chunk, a lot of people think that there's nothing there, but it's actually full. And then a lot of our other business spaces are filling up quicker than what a lot of people realize. So this way, that was a good piece. The solar panels on the closed landfill, while it has been an ongoing project for years, it was actually finalized in May of 2019 when we finally did
Right.
sign the leases and the operations agreements,
Yep.
which was a great eureka moment. One of the other great projects that we did was the streetlight purchase and the conversion to LEDs. Knowing, with the council knowing that it could potentially save us $60,000 a year annually, so that's a great project. And then we typically do a brief overview of what's going on in the upcoming 2021 budget that they will be looking at. And then some other pieces with just making sure folks know that the spreadsheets are at the back of the book, and that, again, when your meetings are, encouraging people to attend, and as always, thanking our very many volunteers and staff. So if there are other projects that you think we should highlight or ideas of pieces to put in here, let me know. We're getting ready to go to press on this.
Yeah,
and-
it tells it what it is, and it explains enough that people can very easily come to the town meeting and,
That first paragraph.
go to the pros and cons of what everything is there. The biggest thing, of course, is the town cleanup, and that's where people get to make the decision. Do they want to
Right.
go through, or do they want to take care of it themselves?
Right.
It's as simple as that.
If you want to fix that first.
I will. I just crossed it
I,
out.
I see it.
That's what, yeah. Thank you. I now I see what you were getting at. No, you were absolutely correct. That first paragraph is completely wrong. I will fix that.
Okay.
Needs some adjustment.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
Might have been a little copy and paste from last year. So
As
might
possible.
have.
I
Okay.
think you might
Might
be
have.
right.
Yes.
It's okay. I'll get it. I'll get that fixed. Okay, good.
No, other
I
than
just
that,
want to
I
make
think
sure
it-
we're on the right track.
I think it looks good.
Good.
Okay. Next one up.
I thought you might pull that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Peter.
All right, next one up. Discuss police vehicle.
Thank you. I believe you have a memo from me
Yes,
and
we do.
maybe some price guidelines that we've been looking at. And you'll see that the price of the pickup trucks that we're looking at, the Ram, is a huge savings. And these vehicles, as far as I can tell, are like best price scenario that we can find. We received some bids. We tore into the bids, trying to find money that we could cut from different locations, and there's just nothing left. So are there any questions about what we're proposing?
So it doesn't look like a Dodge?
That is just to show you the design that we're looking to put on the side of the car, on the side of the
In the
truck.
online version, it's in color, so it actually
saw that, yeah.
matches the color scheme a little bit better. But a large part of this conversation is we're really not looking for you to approve the purchase of a truck tonight, although if you chose to, that would be fine as well. But really, this is because of the fact that this is a deviation in the type of vehicle that we have used in the past. So you do know that we've had the SUVs, we've used them for quite some time. But as Tom has mentioned in years past, with the changes that have been made to those vehicles and the extreme change in price has been rather astronomical. So a lot of police departments in Maine have been looking for alternatives, because when you were used to paying $36,000 and for the entire package of everything, including your installation of all of your components, and you're looking at $39,000 just for the vehicle itself, plus the additional $10,000 for all the installation, it's a huge change for us. And the police department has done a bunch of research. They've actually visited some other departments that have these vehicles that are going with the Dodge Ram police option. With the town of Newport is actually using it. They have purchased 2 of them. They really do like these vehicles. They're finding them to be actually roomier, believe it or not, and are very satisfied with their performance and have had them for a while. So before we put together a formal proposal of asking you, A, do you want us to spend all this money? And approving the spending of the money, we really needed to make sure you're on board with the changing of the type of vehicle that we use due to these costs.
My question, Tom, is how many vehicles in this purchase, or this request, do you replace all of them or just a few?
Just one.
Just one?
Just one vehicle, correct. I think it's wise for us to purchase one, take a good long look at it, and see if it's going to meet our needs, because obviously there could be some storage issues with these vehicles. So far, nobody's reporting that there are any. We put a hard tonneau cover on the back so that it was kind of sealed in.
I'm just concerned of the space for possibly you have to transport personnel.
There is actually more space, and believe it or not, there's more space in the back of this vehicle, in the back seat, than there is in our patrol vehicles now.
So you have like a cage up behind the seats, so.
There'll be a cage behind the seats protecting the officer, and the side windows will have cages on them. We'll put a full light bar on the roof again, and that's because the Ford models have recessed sections in them for low light, so it's easy and economical for us to make a cruiser low light with the Ford vehicles, but it's not going to be that way with this. So we'll be putting the light bar back on the roof, which will add to some of the expense, but it'll also be a safety issue for the officers.
Will this be like an economical for down the road? Because I know other towns you visited, Newport and Kearsarge, have bigger areas to cover.
Yes.
And since Fairfield's a medium area with a medium budget too.
Right.
And I'm just wondering if this be economical for this down the road. And also too, with the current economic development going on, will it be feasible chance spending it, and down the road, the economic will fall through and things like that, and we won't have the money. I'm just concerned about that, because since the economy is going south right now.
We already have the money this money comes from the department's capital equipment account.
Yeah.
Our cruisers are on a rotation in which they should be replaced every 4 years based upon their mileage, and then they'll be out, in 4 years they're out of warranty, and then the cost and the wear and tear. Really what we're asking you to do is, do you want to purchase a Dodge Ram at $29,900, or do you want to go with our current option of the Ford utility vehicle at $38,800? We have to replace a vehicle. We have the funds to replace the vehicle.
Right.
And what happens is, if we don't keep our police cruisers in good condition, then you will have to take, so that's a different kind of conversation that we will have, whether or not it's sustainable over time. This is a tool that they use to do their job and that they need to have.
So a little bit to expand on that, if we were more like Waterville, I wouldn't be looking at this option. But we're, a little bit more country. We have more open roads.
Much bigger area to cover.
Bigger area to cover, correct. I don't foresee that it's going to cost us any more to operate these vehicles, and I believe when we go to trade them in, they're going to be worth quite a bit more than the current Fords are. I think we get $3,500 to $4,500 for the Fords in trade, and I believe these trucks will probably bring close to 10 when we go to sell them.
How many quotes have you gotten on the Dodge?
I've only gotten one quote on the Dodge. I can reach out again to the other companies, but the last 2 times we've quoted, only one company replied.
Height didn't quote?
They didn't the last time, but I have not asked them. I can reach out to them.
if you could make an attempt to get a couple more quotes on it. I don't have a problem with going with a pickup truck. I see most of the sheriff's departments are running pickup trucks right now. They wouldn't be using them if they didn't think it was feasible to use a vehicle of that type. If we could just get a couple of quotes, a couple more quotes on it and
Absolutely.
see where we're at on it, making sure we're right in the ballpark on that, I don't have any, I wouldn't have any issues with it.
I'll reach out tomorrow.
Thanks.
So if we, as soon as we are able to get more quotes on the truck, because again, without knowing how council wanted us to go to, it wasn't really worth it for us
Put it as an
to.
action item on the,
Action item next meeting? As soon as we have more
Yep,
than one quote.
that sounds good.
Yep, definitely.
yep.
Okay. We'll move on now to other council business. Mr. Taylor?
Nope, I'm good right now.
Let's go a few. Spring is coming, and the Public Works is out there doing a great job trying to keep our roads going. Just be careful of them, and since the crosswalks are, the whites are gone away, just be careful of residents crossing the road, especially up around Blanges and the church, because there's crosswalks there. No signs saying there's crosswalks there, just be aware. Also too, on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday nights now, Fairfield has, at the Grange, has a Tops, take off Pound Central, at 5:30 to 7 o'clock. That's every Tuesday. Then, this Thursday, March 12th, is we blood drive at, Hands from 1 o'clock to 6. The signs are out, and that's it. Just come and support the area business and give blood and be a hero.
Sounds good. And I guess I have nothing at this point. All right, so we will move on. Our next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be held on Wednesday, March 25th, 2020, to be held here at Council Chambers at 6:30 PM. We will now go into recess and sign all documents that require signatures of council members, and then move on to our, come back into session and move on to our 8th order of business, which will be an executive session.
Motion for recess.
So move.
Second,
All in favor? It is done.
recess.